Hi, I'm Rachael McGill, and I'm going to read from a story translated by Catarina Fonseca, which is published in this book, which is called Tales and Trails Lisbon in English, and the Portuguese version is Ver Lisboa. It's a really nice book because it has writers producing stories about different areas of Lisbon and also artists as well. And it was created by the Prado Association, which is a cultural association, specializing in projects that bring together different kinds of artists. I was able to choose which story I wanted to translate, and I chose Catarina Fonseca's story because it really responded to her style of writing, which I think is maybe like my style of writing. So I had fun with this. The story is called 10 Ways to Reach the Stars, and it begins when the narrator runs into the Santa Justa lift in the center of Lisbon to escape a wild storm, and then she realizes there's someone else in the lift as well. There were 10 ways they could have built this lift. They chose the most sturdy. Are you a guide? He shakes his head. Just a visitor like your excellency. Your excellency. The weirdos always come out at night. There he is at the back. This thing's pretty big inside. Leaning against the wall, cool as a cucumber. Not drenched like I am. Not attempting to wring out his clothing. Not standing in a puddle of black water. Black trousers, overcoat, artily twirled moustache. These retro moustaches are really getting beyond a joke. I would never kiss a man with a moustache. He looks at me in silence, following a similar train of thought, perhaps. I decide to make conversation. Do you think this thing works? Two indignant black eyes open wide above the moustache. Of course it works, always has, always will. What am I doing here? I'm terrified of lifts. I've lived in Lisbon my entire life and never set foot in one before. I'd rather climb 4 flights of stairs than get inside the black box in my building. Why did I come in here? Bewildered by the storm, propelled by cosmic forces? Cosmic forces can release inner demons. I'm quite attached to mine. There's a grating of hinges. A rocket blasts off just as a huge gust of wind buffets us. Lightning forks cross the sky, and a flock of blackbirds crashes against the side of the lift, committing collective suicide in a thud of wet feathers. There are bats in my house, I murmur vaguely. The bats roam my neighborhood in black clouds of pointed wings and miniature mouse heads. They flutter in mysterious formations between the buildings, sleep hanging face down from the rafters of an abandoned garage, squeak as they circle the skeletons of Chrysalis and the heads of the ghost children that run through the streets at twilight, looking for the orphanages where their mothers abandoned them 250 years ago. Thinking about home feels warm and comforting, despite the ghosts and bats. I realize I've been speaking out loud. The man in the overcoat now knows I believe in ghosts, knows that orphans roam the streets where I live, knows I hear them singing softly, calling for their mothers. He knows bats haunt the bright windows where chop suey is made from everything, where vegetable curry is served with longing for distant lands, far away beyond the misted glass. Thank you for warning me, he says. Who knows what that's supposed to mean? Our black box continues its ascent, holding fast through the storm. I remember all my nightmares about lifts, in which the lift keeps going past the last floor until it disappears into the sky, and I can never come back down to earth, to solid ground. At the top, though, everything's different. The storm has passed. The world is bathed in light. There's music in the distance. Children in white bibs play with bows and arrows. I thought they only played with iPhones. There's a noise that sounds like a horse and cart. Do they have those in Lisbon? The air is still and sweet. Time has shifted. We left at 10:30 at night. Now it's late afternoon. Some sort of microclimate? White blossom falls from the trees in the square. The guide, who's not a guide, is still beside me, seemingly in no rush to be anywhere. What's your name? I ask, out of politeness more than interest. He gives a small bow. Raoul, at your service. Raoul, at my service. My grandmother would love him.